speed.
Greetings, my little lovelies. I hope I find you all well again, and as usual, feeling dickety-boo. Oh dear, someone should stop me. Right, 4 stories for you today. Well, 3.5, because one of them is very, very short, but I thought I'd chuck it in anyway. Right, I'm rambling. Let's get on with it. The first one is about an American president. I wonder if you can guess which one. The second one involves mountains in India. The third one involves a new creature, funnily enough, also found in India. We don't just throw these videos together, you know. Some thought does go into them.
Daddy, behave yourself.
And the fourth and final one involves a shadow person. Now, I think I've waffled on for far too long, and I think we should just get on with it, shall we? So, let's crack on! Ronald Reagan, who served as the 40th President of the United States from 1981 to 1989, attempted to warn the public about the existence of aliens, according to a new claim. During the decades-long Cold War between Russia and the US, President Reagan attempted to calm the tension between the two powerhouses by stating that there is not much difference between them. In doing so, the President asked the United Nations to imagine how quickly humanity would come together if it was confronted by an extraterrestrial civilization. In one speech to the UN, President Reagan said, "What if all of us in the world were threatened by an outer power from outer space, from another planet? We would all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences at all." In another, he said, "Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize the common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat." Whilst most people saw this as an attempt to diffuse simmering tensions between the US and the Soviet Union, one person believes President Reagan was trying to subtly warn the public of aliens. Prominent conspiracy theorist Scott C. Waring wrote on his blog ET Database, he really tried hard to inform the public, even when he knew it was against national security to do so. On September the 16th, 1983, US President Ronald Reagan had given a memorable speech in front of the United Nations. In it, he subtly suggests that aliens exist and that all of humanity would be lost if they ever decided to attack us. What do you think, folks? As usual, let us know. Low pollution levels due to the recent lockdown have revealed views not seen in several decades. If there's one positive thing to come out of this pandemic, it's the significant global reduction in pollution levels as factories stop operating and city streets lie empty. While there's no denying that lower pollution levels are a good thing for the environment, residents in India this week highlighted an unexpected benefit: crystal clear views of the Himalayas. According to reports, people in the region are now able to see the mountain tops of the Himalayas in the distance for the first time in 30 years. For some younger residents, it's the first time that they've ever seen such a view. Social media has been awash with photographs of this spectacle. "We can now see snow-covered mountains clearly from our roofs," said a local resident. And not just that, stars are now visible at night. "I have never seen anything like this in recent times," they said. A new species of green pit viper has been discovered during an expedition to a remote region of India. The impressive serpent, which has a bright green body with a distinctive red stripe along its side, was spotted by researchers during a trip to the northernmost state of, I'm going to try and pronounce it, but I'll probably have to put it on the screen for you, Arunachal Pradesh. I wonder what else is out there that we're yet to find. I met my wife in the year 2005. At the time, she still lived with her mum in her family home in Rainham. She didn't waste any time in inviting me to stay with her and her mum. One night I had to get up to go and visit the toilet, and as I left the room I was frozen with the presence of a dark shadow being at the top of the stairs. I had to hastily go past it to get to the bathroom. This shadow was there for many nights, causing fear every time. One night I rushed by to come back to our bedroom, and my wife asked was I okay. I then told her about it, and the fact that sometimes the being would be at the bottom of the stairs, slowly making its way up. She then breathed a sigh of relief and told me her experience of the same being, and that from the earliest memory she had, that being had always been in the house. Now years have passed and we moved out, got married, had 2 children, when suddenly her mother passed away, leaving my wife the house in her will. We moved back in, decorated, and all was fine for about 6 months. My son, who was 4 at the time, came running into our bedroom crying about the bad man in his dream that stood at the top of the staircase. His description of the being was exactly the same as what me and my wife had seen out of the corner of our eyes when we used to go past it. What was even more disturbing was the fact that my wife had an imaginary friend whilst growing up, which is not uncommon. And last night, while watching TV, I asked my son if he remembered his dream when he was 4 years old. And he said yes. He recalled it word for word as if it had only happened yesterday. He then went on to tell us about his imaginary friend that he had in the same home. My wife turned pale, and when my son went to bed, she then spoke to me about it. The exact same description of his imaginary friend was her imaginary friend too. A little girl with dark hair in an old white dress, like a christening gown. Needless to say, this was our catalyst to move homes. But even in this new home, there is a presence, but a much nicer presence that doesn't bother us. We happily coexist. Come back, my little lovelies. I hope you enjoyed them. As usual, let us know your thoughts. Keep everything nice and clean and tickety-boo. Right, that's all from me for this episode. Until next time, take care, my little lovelies, and stay safe. Ta-ta, my little lovelies. Ta-ta.
Come to me.